Hi, it's Jen here. In this video, I want to talk about what I feel is happening with the current crisis from a spiritual perspective. So, when the epidemic pandemic started, my first kind of insight into this was that two of the biggies were coming up globally for everyone: death and money. So, as far as the pandemic itself and the health issue goes, the virus, um, if we're looking at the events in the world as a reflection of our inner consciousness, there has been so much fear and so much ill health, so much striving, so much discontent and feelings of separation, loneliness, isolation that have been brewing for so long in our world that this comes to the surface. So, in natural healing, what is within, what's buried deep within, what's causing us the health issues or emotional mental issues, it's buried deep within, and a lot of unconscious material that's gathered and kind of collected pace energetically within the collective unconscious. In natural healing, if you're working on a personal level, for example, and bringing up this unconscious material to be seen, to be healed, for, to find the cures to whatever's kind of ailing you, it comes to the surface. So it's not like, taking a painkiller and, wanting the pain to go away. It will come out, and it may be experienced in events, in people that you meet, in interactions with others. It may be conflict, it may be anger. If you've got a lot of buried anger, you might find yourself coming across a lot of angry people. It's the reflection of your own state of consciousness, and it will come up in order for you to see it and in order for you to make a different choice, but it's also coming out energetically. So what we're seeing is this build-up of fear globally that is really rising to the surface. As far as the money situation goes, the wealth experts for quite a while were warning that there was going to be a massive economic collapse, and certainly there's been so much dissatisfaction with people in doing jobs in little cubicles, or doing jobs that they hated for companies that weren't helping the planet, that everything was just profit before people, profit before humanity, raping the earth of its natural resources and destroying the habitat of the animals and the birds and the plants, and just so much destruction due to greed and just a structure that just doesn't work and is not sustainable. And all this stuff is rising to the surface. And it feels terrible when, when all this stuff is coming up. It doesn't feel pleasant if you're doing, really deep healing in yourself, and then all your stuff comes out, and it's, it feels terrible. But it does need to be released. It does need to come to the surface in order to be seen, in order for new choices to be made, in order for new opportunities to come up. So things can be very, very painful while this all this energy is coming up. And there are so many gifts inherent in all this as well that we also need to keep sight of. So what kind of gifts am I talking about here? Well, it's been a time of reflection for many people, being holed up between the four walls, and maybe some more self-reflection. If you're losing your job, you've got plenty of time to reflect on what your priorities are and what life really means to you, spending time with your loved ones, your animals, yourself, um, going through feelings of helplessness and despair, all the stuff that was under the surface anyways and was debilitating for you, maybe even being unconscious to it. But it certainly is an opportunity for all this stuff to rise to the surface so that you can create a better life from a clearer space. Now, the problem for many people is the panic that arises from the understandable feelings of fear, losing jobs, losing loved ones, fearing for your security, fearing for your safety, your health. The fear itself is something that is very, very destructive when it goes to the mind, and all the stories and all the fearful thoughts and the panic and the the cortisol that's released into the body from the fear response, the amygdala going crazy in the brain in fight or flight survival, inhibits your breath, inhibits the immune system. So the fear and panic is very, very detrimental to your health, and it's very human, and it's also very understandable. So our opportunity is to really go inside, if we haven't done so already, into the stillness, into the peace, into your heart. So I've been encouraging myself and other people to really go into the heart, because the heart is your place of power. The heart is your place of peace. It's the gateway to the soul, to your infinite self, to the place of divinity within you. Taking deep breaths in and out through the heart. Heart-centered breathing. It's not a soundbite to talk about going into your heart. It's a place of respite from the fear and the panic of the mind. And the mind has not been working for us. The mind has been given jobs that it was really never designed to do. The mind is useful, and the left brain is useful for making calculations, you know, putting dates in your diary, building your website, working, you know, structural things. It's not designed for all the emotional decisions and everything else that we've been putting pressure on the mind to do. That's the place of the heart. The heart is the place of going to for the inner guidance that is always available to you, whether you believe in spirituality or whether you don't. The heart is the place where you can find the peace and the stillness, that you can receive the information, you can receive inspiration, and if you operate from being in your heart instead of all the fear-mongering stories of the mind, you will be balancing your hormones and your, harmonizing your whole physiological system, your hormonal system, your breath, which means that instead of being in the fear and panic of the amygdala and the fight or flight response from the reptilian brain, survival, you can open up the frontal lobe, which is where you have good ideas, receive inspiring thoughts of what your heart would like to do, where it would like to take you, where it wants to go, so that you're on the correct course for you, for your individual blueprint, for where your soul wants to take you to your highest place and purpose. And it's very liberating when you operate from this place. It's very still, it's very peaceful, you can experience joy, and it's not the fear, the panic, the fear-mongering, the stories, and the mental constructs of the mind that keep you stuck in this small box of limitation, poverty consciousness, fear, panic, disagreement, inner conflict, this is the time for us to go to our hearts for our guidance, connect with ourselves, connect with that part of us that is infinite, that is free, that does know, that can see things from a higher perspective, that can guide us in the right direction so that we can trust it and go into the flow. So, I hope that was useful for you. I just wanted to share my thoughts, and everybody have a lovely day. Thank you.